Alright everybody, grab your flashlights and let's crawl into the air ducts of history together, because we're heading back to the jump scare infested year of 2014 when the horror gaming landscape changed forever.
Scary alert.
This was the year that Five Nights at Freddy's, or FNAF for short, came out. And I mean, it didn't just come out like your cousin at Thanksgiving dinner. No, it exploded onto the scene like a spring-loaded animatronic, scaring the life out of everyone and their dog. Picture this, it's 2014, you're kicking back, relaxing, feeling like the king of the world because you've finally beaten Flappy Bird's record. Remember that game? Simpler times. And then all of a sudden, a new game hits the indie scene. It's a small game developed by a guy named Scott Cawthon, who, before this, was best known for his Christian-themed games like Bible Play School and Chipper and Sons Lumber Company. A far cry from the horror icon he's known as today. But one fateful day, Scott decided he was tired of being Mr. Nice Guy, and got even more tired of the Christian kids he was entertaining, and instead he wanted to scare some kids for life, and thus Five Nights at Freddy's was born. Set in a decrepit pizza joint filled with possessed animatronics, you play as a night security guard fighting to survive until 6 a.m. And let me tell you, these were the most terrifying nights most gamers had ever faced.
Jesus Christ! Oh! Oh! Ah, fuck! What the fuck? Oh! Oh!
A bit like having dinner with my ex-mother-in-law, just with fewer sharp teeth and more jump scares. The game became an overnight sensation, going viral on YouTube faster than videos of cats falling off things. Players loved the tense atmosphere, the jump scares, and the ominous phone calls from your boss who clearly never heard of worker safety regulations. All wrapped up in a unique gameplay mechanic that had you flipping through security feeds like a paranoid night guard at a haunted Chuck E. Cheese. And let's be honest, it's all just a big metaphor for corporate capitalism, right? Forced to work a minimum wage job in horrifying conditions, all while being hunted by corporate mascots. Now that's scary. The success of Five Nights at Freddy's was monumental. It was the horror game everyone was talking about, the one all of your friends dared you to play with the lights off. And while some critics called it an anxiety simulator, fans couldn't get enough of it. Not even a year after the game's release, rumors were already starting to circulate about a sequel. I mean, once you got a taste for cold pizza and deadly animatronics, who can blame you for wanting more? But buckle up, we're just getting started. We're gonna delve into the pizza sauce smeared halls of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria as we explore the first game that kicked off this horror sensation. So be sure to pack your favorite security blanket and maybe an extra pair of pants, because you're gonna need them. So you're feeling brave, huh? You decided to strap in for your first shift at Freddy's, and let me tell you, this isn't your average 9 to 5. This is more like your 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. with a side of horror and potential dismemberment. The job description, though, is pretty simple. Check security cameras, conserve power, and don't let the animatronics stuff you into a Freddy Fazbear suit. Easy peasy, right?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
Wrong. Because the animatronics at Freddy's have more life in them than my Uncle Bob after his third heart bypass. You've got your star players, Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, and Foxy the Pirate Fox. They're like a twisted metal version of the Teletubbies, if the Teletubbies were possessed by vengeful spirits and had a taste for human flesh. Charming, isn't it? But hey, at least there's no baby son laughing at you in FNAF. The gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's is as nerve-wracking as trying to explain your internet history to your grandmother. You're stuck in a tiny security office, flipping between the security feeds, keeping an eye on the murderous mascots, and managing your power usage because apparently Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria runs on the same power grid as a rundown RV. The pressure builds with each passing hour, and you start to feel like a concerned mouse in a cat cafe. But the beauty of the game lies in its simplicities. You don't need to master complicated controls and memorize long-winded spells. All you need to do is keep those doors closed, lights checked, and hope that you'll make it until morning. And let's not forget about the sound design. Every creak, every buzz, every distant tune of animatronic jingle, they all build up to make you feel like you're in a carnival from hell. And if the gameplay wasn't nerve-wracking enough, then there's the lore. Oh, the lore. This game has more secrets than a government conspiracy. Kids disappearing, mysterious messages, hidden minigames, and it's all hinted at through cryptic phone calls and tiny details in the environment. Let me tell you, never before have I seen pizza party posters been so ominous. Now let's not forget the role that YouTubers played in the success of the game. You've got the likes of Markiplier and PewDiePie screaming their heads off at every jump scare, which honestly was more entertaining than most sitcoms that year. These videos were a marketing boon for the game, leading it to becoming one of the most popular horror titles of all time. And it showed that watching people get scared can be just as fun as being scared yourself. Unless, of course, you're the one doing the scaring. In all, Five Nights at Freddy's is a masterclass in creating tension. It's a game that knows how to get under your skin, making every shadow seem threatening and every sound a potential death sentence. But we're only just scratching the surface. Up next, we're diving into the sequels and their twists, so get ready to go even deeper into darkness. Who knows what we're gonna find lurking there? Probably more murderous animatronics, if I were to guess. Alright, so you've survived your first week at Freddy's. Congratulations, you're now a certified animatronic expert. But don't let that go to your head. The only thing it qualifies you for is a one-way ticket to the sequels. Because why have one night of terror when you can have 5? And then some more. That's right, Scott looked at this game and said, you know what this needs? More murder robots. And boy did he deliver. FNAF 2, the grand reopening. Now, this is where things begin to get interesting. The game ditches the doors, introduces the Freddy Fazbear head for all your disguise needs, and turns the cast of murderous mascots into a full-fledged animatronic army. You've got new faces like Balloon Boy, who despite his cherry look, is as much of a nightmare as trying to find a decent parking spot on Black Friday. And of course, the puppet. Ah, the puppet, the bane of our existence, the thing that makes us question why we even took the job in the first place. It's like having a needy pet, except the pet can kill you if you don't pay enough attention to it. FNAF 3 introduces us to Springtrap. Who's Springtrap, you ask? Imagine if you took the Easter Bunny, gave him a taste for human flesh, and then trapped him in a suit full of metal death traps. That's Springtrap for you. Oh, and let's not forget the Phantom animatronics. These are the ghost versions of our old pals. Because why not? Who doesn't love a good ghost story, especially when the ghost can make your life a living hell? But hold on to your Freddy Fazbear hats, folks, because we're not done yet. FNAF 4 takes us out the pizzeria and into a child's bedroom. Because apparently being a security guard wasn't stressful enough. Now we're a kid trying to fend off nightmarish versions of the animatronics. Seriously, these guys look like they've been hitting the gym and the protein shakes. They're not just scary, they're intimidatingly buff. And then there's Sister Location, a game that flips the FNAF formula on its head. It's more of a narrative-driven game with different tasks each night, an actual plot, and of course more animatronics. Not just any animatronics though, no, these are sleek, shiny, state-of-the-art murder machines, because progress, am I right? You've got Circus Baby, Ballora, and Funtime Freddy and Foxy, each with their own quirks and methods of making your life miserable. The lore also expands with each game, creating a twisted narrative that could rival any soap opera in its complexity. There are murders, possessions, hauntings, mysterious establishments, and family drama. It's like Days of Our Lives, but with homicidal animatronics. But we can't forget the piece de resistance, the cherry on top, the final twist in the tale, the revelation of the purple guy's identity and his gruesome fate. It was the plot twist that sent the FNAF fandom into a frenzy and solidified the game's place as a modern horror classic. Alright, so we've been introduced to our adorable animatronic assassins. Now let's get into what made these games stand out from the rest. And no, it's not just because they caused an increase in sales of adult diapers. First off, let's talk mechanics. Because while in most games the phrase use your head is more of a metaphor, in FNAF it's a literal gameplay strategy. As in, literally putting on an animatronic head to fool the other killer robots. It's like being at a masquerade ball, except instead of impressing people with your foxtrot, you're trying to avoid being stuffed into a suit filled with metal and wires. And remember folks, Foxy loves to tango. And by tango, I mean sprint at you at full speed and try to stuff you into a Freddy suit. Now, if you've ever worked in a customer service job, you'll understand the pressure of trying to keep everyone happy. But imagine if, instead of asking to speak to your manager, your customers tried to murder you. That's what dealing with the puppet is like. Let that music box wind down and you've got one-way ticket to Jumpscare City. Population, you. And speaking of jump scares, let's talk about those. FNAF's jump scares are the video game equivalent of being hit in the face with a cream pie, except the pie is filled with fear and the person throwing it at you is a 7-foot tall bear robot. The tension of waiting for a jump scare in FNAF is like the suspense of waiting for a toast to pop, except instead of a tasty breakfast treat, you get a face full of animatronic. Tastes like terror. Then there's the audio. It's a blend of discordant jingles, raspy robotic laughter, and heavy metallic footsteps that would make even the toughest security guard consider a career change. The ambience of Five Nights at Freddy's is like being in the world's worst sound check, where every noise could be your last.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Now, despite its jump scares and terrifying audio, FNAF isn't all screams and panic attacks. The game also offers a unique narrative experience through its cryptic minigames and vague hints sprinkled through the series. The lore is like a horror fan's treasure hunt, where each nugget of information brings you closer to the understanding of the dark past of the Freddy Fazbear Pizzeria. The gameplay of FNAF is an experience like no other. It's a blend of survival horror, puzzle solving, and a constant anxiety attack that somehow comes together to form a game that's as addictive as it is terrifying. But even more impressive is the fact that this nightmare was dreamt up and brought to life by just one man. So now that we've had a taste of the FNAF gameplay experience, let's go backstage and see how this puppet show of nightmares came to be. And no, I'm not talking about my high school theater experience. First off, remember Scott Cawthon? Well, before FNAF, Scott was known for his Christian-themed games, as stated before, because nothing screams faith in humanity like designing a series where vengeful spirits possess robots to murder night guards. I guess after creating peaceful faith-based games, Scott thought, you know what? I need to make something that'll make people wet their pants in fear. A natural transition, really. Scott, being the creative genius he is, single-handedly designed, programmed, wrote, and even voice-acted for Five Nights at Freddy's. The man's a one-person game development army. Heck, I can barely make a toast without setting off the smoke alarm, and this guy's out here creating an entire franchise from scratch. Talk about an overachiever. Now, the inception of FNAF was no bed of roses or a spring-lock suit filled with soft animatronic fluff. It was born out of a critical review of Scott's previous game, Chipper & Sons Lumber Company. The characters were described as scary and animatronic-like. Now, for most of us, that kind of criticism would make us curl up into a ball and contemplate our life choices, but not Scott. No, he took that criticism and thought, scary animatronics, huh? Hold my bear-shaped beer. And so, like a phoenix rising from the ashes of criticism, Five Nights at Freddy's was born. Scott funneled all of his efforts into making something truly terrifying, and boy did he succeed. It's like if Picasso got told his paintings were too weird, so he decided to paint with his own blood just to stick it to the man. However, the journey from idea to execution wasn't as smooth as Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Scott suffered from anxiety during the development of the first game, making the process a real-life horror story, but like any true artist, he turned his fear into fuel, creating an atmosphere so palpable you could cut it with a knife. Or in this case, a Freddy Fazbear pizza cutter. Speaking of pizza, did you know that Chuck E. Cheese was a major inspiration for FNAF? Yeah, I'm shocked, because nothing screams horror inspiration like a rat who sings songs and serves pizza. I don't know about you, but the most horrifying thing I've ever seen at Chuck E. Cheese was the salad bar. And so from humble beginnings, Scott gave birth to a franchise that would redefine the horror game genre and stain the pants of gamers everywhere. But behind the gameplay and the scares lies a deeper, darker story. Now to the unholy rabbit hole of FNAF lore. Strap in and keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times, because just like Bonnie on a bad day, this stuff can tear you apart. And remember, if at any point you feel a sense of existential dread, good, you're doing it right. At first glance, FNAF might seem like a simple survival horror game where you, a horribly underpaid security guard, are tasked with surviving at night after night of killer animatronics trying to stuff you into a suit.
Okay.
But peel back that layer like an onion or my skin when I see Balloon Boy, and you'll find a story darker than the coffee I chug to stay awake during these shifts. The lore of FNAF is a twisted tale of murder, revenge, and supernatural possession. Behind the creepy animatronics lies a tale of a serial killer known as the Purple Guy, or William Afton, who killed several children at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. The spirits of these kids allegedly haunt the animatronics, seeking revenge. No wonder they're so ticked off all the time. It's not because they want to sing, it's because they're internally grounded. But the lore doesn't stop at vengeful ghost kids. Oh no, it involves complex narratives about hidden rooms, secret experiments, AI sentience, and plot twists that would give M. Night Shyamalan a run for his money. Just when you think you've got a handle on the story, Scott throws another curveball that has the fan base scrambling for answers. It's like trying to assemble a jigsaw puzzle while blindfolded and the pieces are constantly changing. Fun, right?
Nope.
One of the key aspects that makes the FNAF lore so captivating is its method of storytelling. The story isn't handed to you on a silver platter, or in my case, a greasy pizza tray. It's scattered across the game, hidden in Easter eggs, coded messages, minigames, and even spin-off books and games. It's a bit like trying to read a book where the pages are out of order, half of them are in a different language, and some guy named Scott keeps throwing in extra pages while you're not looking.
Wait a minute!
The sense of mystery and discovery has led fans to craft elaborate theories and timelines trying to make sense of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. You could say the real horror of FNAF isn't the animatronics or even the grim story. It's the fact that no matter how much you dig, you're left with more questions than answers. But hey, who needs sleep, sanity, or a social life when you've got a horror mystery to solve, right? So that's the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, a never-ending nightmare of mystery and murder that I could probably do 16 videos on, where every answer spawns a dozen new questions. But we can't talk about FNAF complex lore without diving into the community of dedicated fans who spent countless hours unmasking the franchise secrets. As we talk about the fans, let's hope they're friendlier than the animatronics, eh? Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. It's time to crack open the cardboard box of insanity that is the FNAF community. Now I say insanity with the utmost love and respect, because just like Freddy on a power outage, they're persistent, dedicated, and slightly terrifying. From the moment FNAF hit the scene, the fandom sprang up faster than Foxy dashing down the West Hall. Seriously, they make the animatronics look like they're powered by AA batteries. The community latched on to every cryptic detail, each pixelated minigame, every hidden audio cue, and spun it into a vibrant tapestry of theories and speculation. If the FNAF lore was a tangled ball of yarn, these guys are the cats tirelessly batting it around. Let's take a moment to appreciate the theorists out there who've gone through each game with a fine-tooth comb. They've dissected each detail, discussed, debated, and developed elaborate timelines and theories. Some of the theories are so intricate they'd make an actual architect dizzy. I mean, there's even a debate on the color of purple guy's, well, purpleness. That's dedication, people. Or obsession. Or both. Probably both. The creativity doesn't stop there. We've got artists turning nightmarish animatronics into stunning artworks, animators creating impressive fan-made movies and series, and writers crafting stories that explain and expand the FNAF universe in intriguing ways. There are even musicians composing hauntingly catchy tunes inspired by the franchise. If there was an award for most likely to turn a child's nightmare into a Broadway musical, the FNAF community would win hands down. The FNAF fandom has also shown incredible support and appreciation for the game's creator. Despite the occasional angry mob when a new game doesn't match their favorite theory, they've shown admiration for his imaginative storytelling, unpredictable twists, and his ability to keep a bunch of horror fanatics guessing for years on end. That's no easy feat, unless, of course, you've got a horde of murderous animatronics backing you up. This fanbase isn't just about creating content or debating lore, though. They've come together to form a thriving community that shares a common love for this fright-filled franchise. Despite the sometimes heated debates and lore discrepancies, there's a sense of unity in the shared fear, excitement, and anticipation that each game brings. Nothing unites people like collective fear, right?
Nope.
So hats off to you, FNAF community. You've taken a series of horror games and turned them into something far greater. You've explored the dark corners of Freddy's Pizzeria and lived to tell the tale, or at least respawn to tell the tale. Now let's see how FNAF has ventured beyond the screen. That's right, because Freddy and the gang haven't just haunted our screens, they've spilled out into the real world too. Just when you thought it was safe to turn off your computer, FNAF shows up on t-shirts in bookstores or even your bedroom shelves. Seriously, who thought it was a good idea to make plush toys of murderous animatronics? I mean, who wants a cuddly little nightmare fuel to snuggle up to at night? First up, let's talk merch. We've got the usual suspects here: t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and mugs. I mean, who doesn't want to start their day off with a cup of coffee featuring a close-up of Freddy's grinning face? Nothing screams wake-up call quite like an imminent threat of a jump scare before your morning caffeine hit. But it doesn't stop there. Oh no, there are FNAF action figures, Funko Pop, even collectible pins for those of you who want to bring a little bit of terror to your backpack or jean jacket. And of course, there are the plushies, because nothing says huggable like a deranged animatronic bear with a taste for security guards. Aside from the merchandise, FNAF has also infiltrated the world of literature with a series of novels and graphic novels. These aren't your typical bedtime stories unless your ideal lullaby involves haunted pizzerias and mechanical monsters. These books delve deeper into the lore, adding more layers to the complex narrative. Just remember to keep the lights on when you're reading. And then there's the spin-off games like Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, where you can run your own death trap, delightful family restaurant, or Ultimate Custom Night, the buffet of jump scares that lets you mix and match your own personalized nightmare. And let's not forget about the VR and AR games, for those of you who thought the original game just wasn't terrifying enough. But the fun doesn't stop there. FNAF has also crawled its way under the silver screen. That's right, a movie adaptation is in the works, and I hear is coming out soon. Because the only thing better than being jump scared by a digital animatronic is having it happen in high definition surround sound on a massive screen. Popcorn, anyone? Whether you're a fan of the games, an avid collector of merchandise, or just love to dive deeper into the mystery and horror, FNAF has got you covered. And remember, as you wrap yourself in your FNAF blanket, sipping coffee from your Freddy Fazbear mug, clutching your Foxy plushie for dear life, you're not alone. The FNAF community is right there with you, ready to dive headfirst into whatever new terrors Scott throws our way. Ladies and gentlemen, we've journeyed through the spine-tingling story of Five Nights at Freddy's, but our journey isn't over yet. Like a night guard on their 5th night shift, we're left wondering, what's next? If there's one thing we know about Scott, it's that he loves to keep us on our toes, clinging to our flashlights. From the original game to its numerous sequels, spin-offs, books, and more, FNAF has consistently found ways to evolve while making us soil our collective pants. The most recent addition to the series is the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator and the Ultimate Custom Night. Trust me, if you ever thought of running a pizzeria, the simulator will make you reconsider that career choice real fast. And if you thought you were good at FNAF games, Ultimate Custom Night is here to humble you. But with the franchise's constant growth and evolution, what could possibly come next? You know there's a FNAF movie in the works, and I'm not just talking about the one playing in my nightmares, but what about a FNAF theme park? Sure, it'd be a logistical nightmare and possibly a health hazard, but who wouldn't love to eat pizza while being chased by life-sized animatronics?
Bruh.
On the gaming front, there's a buzz about a new FNAF VR game. After all, who needs peace when you can have Bonnie literally in your face? And for those of us trying to piece together the convoluted lore, more books are on the way and promising to add another layer of mystery to the FNAF universe. But we can't help but eagerly anticipate what the future of FNAF will bring. It's like seeing an animatronic in your security camera. You're terrified, but you can't look away. Well, folks, our journey through the terror-filled tale of Five Nights at Freddy's is coming to a close. It's been a wild ride filled with enough jump scares to last a lifetime. But as we sign off, always remember, no matter how dark the night is, there's always a promise for another fright-filled day at Freddy's. Thanks for joining me, and keep those flashlights handy because you never know what's lurking in the dark. And remember, in the wise words of Freddy Fazbear, keep smiling, the show will begin momentarily. Everyone, please stay in your seats. Thanks for joining us today, folks. This is BlisteringFaith, signing off.